I go, hello everyone. Oh, I did it. I don't have the right response for this, but look at that. So I was taking a look at my shelves and I saw Kingdomino and right next to it, Kingdomino Origins. And I couldn't help but think, do I really need both of them? Earlier on the journey, I first bought Kingdomino because I'm sure a lot of you have been down this path. You're looking for gateway games that are family friendly, and I think Kingdomino typically bubbles to the top. And I must admit, when I watched some of the gameplay and read about the game a little bit, I didn't see the appeal. But I still bought it because I was like, all right, I'm still new, what do I know? I'm not gonna judge it till I play it. So I played it. I first played it with my in-laws and we both had fun. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I went in there, I guess my expectations were so low that I just thought, this is actually pretty fun. It just was very satisfying to build this, 5x5 grid using these domino tiles. We had so much fun with it. Of course, I couldn't help but find out there was a Kingdomino Origins that gives you so many other ways to play the game. The base games are similar. This one has a slightly more complex with volcanoes, which we'll see in a little bit, but it also adds different styles of gameplay. So I want to do a quick, head-to-head compare. I do think one of these will stay and one will go. Maybe it just goes to my in-laws, maybe it gets donated to a friend, or maybe to one of you guys at home. But before we get to the compare, let's go ahead and break over both games, show you just a very high level look of how the game works. Let's get into it. Just a heads up, I'll spend a little bit more time going through how the game works with Kingdomino, but when I get to Kingdomino Origins, they're so similar, I can just quickly show you the differences. So it'll kind of speed up as we go through the games. I'm currently set to play a 2-player game. That's why each player will have 2 kings to kind of choose tiles with. Of course, if you play with 3 or 4, you would only choose, 1 tile. But other than that, the gameplay is the same. The setup for drafting will be the same for each round. You put these tiles in order from lowest to highest, and you basically mark the top. This will be the top of the stack. That matters because that will help determine player order in choosing the next tile. There are 6 different terrain types. You can see them here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now each of them have different distributions of tiles to the number of crowns. Like the yellow ones, there's a bunch of yellow ones with only 5 single crowns, where like say these darker tiles, I guess they're probably mines maybe, they have very few of them, but the tiles they do have a lot. Like this one tile has 3 crowns on it. So if you can get that one with just a couple other tiles, you're looking at more points for little space. I'll say your first few games, distribution doesn't matter. Only when you play it a lot, you start to get a little bit more competitive, and then this kind of information starts to matter more. So I can go first, maybe I'll go here. Now the disadvantage of going towards the bottom, because this is a double crown like mine tile, so it could be worth a lot of points, but the disadvantage is I know I'll be going last on the next draft. So maybe, this person can go next. Let's say maybe they go here, and then maybe I'll go here. I know there's not too many crowns, but maybe I can get a lot of this desert terrain and maybe score points just by having a lot of them. So then this person will go here. So now with this, now it will be me, my opponent, me on the next draft. How that actually looks, we'll place the next tiles out from lowest to highest. And essentially I will take the tile from the top and then I'll go ahead and pick a new tile. So right here, this is kind of interesting because there's not too many of these mine tiles and already a 3 crown one. Luckily, I did go first, which is sort of my tactical strategy. I said, okay, I don't know what's coming up next. If I can get to the first tile, I will. So let's see what I will pick. I'll probably just go for this one. I mean, it's actually a pretty good draft. I don't think there's really a bad choice here. I think there's a lot of points to be scored. But since I already had the 2, I might as well go for this one. Because those 2, just those 2 tiles alone, that'll be 5 crowns times 2. So I'll get 10 points if I can get these connected properly. So since I drafted this one, I'll go ahead and place this tile here. Now, your kingdom where your castle is this whole square is wild. Anything can touch that. But if you're touching another tile, you at least have to line up a similar terrain touching at least one. Like for instance, this is legal. This is legal because I'm still touching one. Now I couldn't do this, even though there's a yellow here and a yellow here. It's not a legal placement. And that basically is the one rule throughout the whole game. So my opponent would then go twice. Maybe they go here to kind of get these 2 crown light green tile. But now they have the choice. Do they want to go first next round, or do they really want me to get this other tile? Because this is a lot of points for me. If I was to get this tile, now I'm looking at with that 5, that's 7 times 3, that's 21 points if they give me that tile. So they might want to take it and maybe get another one and score points on their own. So it could be a good block on their part. But hey, because they took that though, I get to go first, so that could be an advantage on the next one. And one of the most satisfying parts about Kingdomino is when you get these kind of lineups where I can get these 2 mines to touch, plus I get this nice longer desert terrain. when you get those kind of synergies, oh man, it does feel good. So the drafting phase is now over. In an effort to maximize some of my points, I definitely messed up. I couldn't make a perfect 5x5 because ultimately you're limited to a 5x5 grid, but you know, sometimes you gotta just make a sacrifice to get the more points. To show you a couple quick examples of how the scores, we'll scroll the yellow. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yellow tiles with 2 crowns. So it'll be 2 times 8 will give me 16 points. Now Kingdomino does have some variants I think are pretty nice to play. Like for instance, if you can get your castle in the middle of your kingdom, you'll score an extra 10 points. Almost at 5. Because if you can get a perfect 5x5 grid with no gaps, like earlier I had gaps that I wouldn't count, but here's a perfect grid with no gaps, you get an extra 5 points. So for this, if I made it to do this at the end of the game, that will score me an extra 15 points, which honestly, that could be the difference between winning and losing if you're playing a competitive game. Okay, now that you've seen how Kingdomino works, I can quickly show you Origins a little bit faster because the drafting and symbol placement is very similar. It just has a few different variants and a slightly different base game to kind of review. So the Origins base game is very similar to Kingdomino, except for this introduction of this concept of volcanoes. You know, the game still has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different main terrain types, plus the 6th one in this case are these volcanoes. Let's just show you a little bit of draft and kind of show you how the volcanoes play out. So tiles are the same, you still put them in order from lowest to highest, and then that's where you'll start your initial draft phase from. The one difference is you'll have these volcano tokens you'll add on. Now the volcano either has a 1, 2, or 3 kind of volcano heads or part of that, you know, dispel these chips out into your board. So in this case, well, just to show you how this works, let's just say I take, you know, my opponent goes first, I take this one, maybe I go for the volcano, they go for this double flame. Because remember, flames in this case are what's gonna be your multiplier. So this is a pretty good tile. And I'll take this one right here. Now, let's just put a couple on the board, and that way you make more sense of how this works. Placement rules are exactly the same as Kingdomino, so I'll put this tile right here. Now, right when I place this tile, I gotta put this flame token somewhere. So it can, now this is a single flame, so it shoots up to 3 tiles away. Now that even could be diagonal, so I could go like 1, 2, 3. Now I couldn't play here because there's already a flame token there. So in this case, you know my light greens doesn't have a flame token, so maybe I'll go like 1, 2, like this. And now, at least this is a scoring tile. Because before, it's just 2 green tiles that aren't scoring anything, but at least now I'm getting 1, 2 times 1, so I'm getting 2 points. Now, of course, maybe I can add more flame tiles to this, they get bigger, but that's just kind of how the volcanoes work. They just let you kind of shoot out a scoring piece onto a tile that doesn't have a scoring piece already. So besides volcanoes, everything else is the same. This is the end of the game. Once again, I made some poor moves. I left 2 gaps here. Bad Ryan. Scoring will be the same. So for this terrain type, this like dark green forest terrain type, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I just count the true flames on here, I would only have 3, so that gives me 15 points. But since I did shoot this volcano here, that gives me an extra 5, so that'll give me 20 points instead of 15. So you see, those flames, you know, in the right places can, you know, give you a lot of points. The second style of play is called tonal mode, where it involves these little ammo tokens. You put them on the tiles, and when you draft it, you add the tile with the tokens to your board. This has a set collecting type feel to the game, because whoever has the most of a certain animal gets these tokens. So for instance, you know, this, I guess he's like a woolly mammoth. So right now, if I have 1, 2, 3 woolly mammoths, and I have the most of anyone playing right now, say I just put this tile down, I earn 2 more, and maybe someone else had 2 and someone else had 1, well, I would earn this token. So now I have the 6 points. So at the end of the game, if I still have the most, I would get 6 bonus points. And that's the same for all of these. You get, you know, 4 points for these like fish, you get 3 points for this one, and you get 5 points for what looks like some kind of rock, I guess. Maybe some kind of rock. So whoever has the most gets, it's just another way to maybe it's not a great tile, but you're like, okay, a tile's not the best, but I do get these 2, and that will give me majority over these 2. So that's potentially another like 10 points I could get. So it just adds a little extra something to the game. So the last mode to play is called tribe mode. So it still utilizes these little meeple tokens here, but instead of racing to have the most into that set collecting thing we just talked about, in this case you use them as currency. The currency, you can spend, say, 2 of them, trade them in, and you can get one of these tribe members to add to your board. These members increase your way to score points. Now this board is already complete, so this will obviously happen during the game. So let's say I spent maybe like one of these woolly mammoths and one of those fishes from earlier, and I get, you know, this gatherer token. So if I was to place this here, you know, this tribe member scores me 4 points for every single mushroom that's around the board, right? So So, you know, depending on, like, that could be a lot. You know, if I maybe go all in on mushrooms and get them around there, maybe I score additional 12 points or more, depending on how well I play stuff. Now, it looks like there's like 8 different types of tribe members, so there's a lot of different options and strategies maybe you can go into, but that's the last mode of gameplay for Kingdomino Origins. All right, that's a quick look at both games. Now, we'll start with Kingdomino. I think this one, when I first bought it, I was like, okay, I'm surely gonna love this more. And when I first played it, I was like, oh yeah, hands down, I love this volcano mode. So cool, I love the flexibility to be able to move the flames, to alter my scoring. I thought that was really neat. And then I took a while, but I finally played the set collecting version where you kind of get the majority of something. And I was like, oh, this is super cool. You still get the volcanoes, but now you get this little gamery thing of like trying to get the most of something. You could see everyone's board. I thought, you know, it took it from a little bit of, you know, multiplayer solitaire kind of just heads down to now I have to kind of care a little bit. So I thought that was a pretty clever addition to the game. The last mode with the tribes is probably my least favorite. I can see where they're going with it. I just thought it was a little too clunky, a little too cumbersome and kind of hard to achieve, where I didn't really find the fun factor. I'd much rather play one of the first 2 modes. So how does that compare to the old standard Kingdomino? So I think this is neat. I think this has a lot of cool concepts, but I'm thinking about it in terms of my whole collection, right? I still think Kingdomino is a great gateway game, and I think this adds a lot of cool things to it. But I feel like now that my collection has grown, I feel like this is still a great gateway game I would reach for to kind of bring people into the hobby. Hey, and it's cool because there's no board. You kind of get that Cascadia-esque feel. You get this like cool drafting. You're making combinations. It's also very satisfying to kind of get the tiles placed, the dominoes placed. And I think every time I show someone new, they'd really get into it. Oh, that was a really cool game, because they're coming from like games, you know, of our yesteryear. Like, coming from Monopoly and Trouble, this is like mind-blowing stuff. So the next question I ask myself, maybe you're asking yourself now, is like, well, okay, if you show them this game and they really enjoy it, isn't it a nice logical step to jump into Kingdomino Origins? They know all the mechanics, and now you're just introducing some additional steps. And while I think that was my initial gut, and that's what kind of where I believed, honestly, I was gonna call this game and keep this game. And then my buddy and I played both. And I think I ultimately decided this one is the keeper and this is not, for this reason. Because if someone shows an interest where they want to like try something more, do I want to show them another Kingdomino? And now they're probably thinking, well, okay, well, yeah, I know this game. Or do I want to expand the horizon? And now with, like I said, this is more of a collection decision. I have so many other gateway games. Now I can show them a different mechanism with a different twist, right? And then, of course, that can lead to another game, which can lead to another game. So I just, even though I thought this bridge made sense on paper, I think I'm not actually gonna do it in reality. The second main reason is a little bit of the fiddliness of both of these games, honestly. Like, my biggest con against Kingdomino is just setting up the draft. I'd take 4 tiles out and then order them in order, right? It's minor, but still, you do that and immediately have to do it again. And then it's a little bit of fiddliness, but it's nothing crazy. But like, I feel like Kingdomino takes that and then adds more to it. Because now I have to put these tiles out, and now I either have to put volcano tokens on them and different animal fishes, and then those have to, it just adds a little bit more to this. Because it happens like every second. You take a tile, you have to set it back up. Take a tile, set it back up. So it's happening enough frequently, because it's a pretty short game, that it just becomes pretty annoying. So I think this is enough fiddliness for me, where this one, as much as I love the set collecting part of it, I really did not enjoy putting the tokens out there. I would honestly forget sometimes too. I'd be like, oh yeah, that comes with 2 fishes. Here you go, I'll give 2 fishes, right? Because I'm just so ingrained with the simplicity of this, it just feels weird to add this friction to what my brain considers a breezy kind of gateway game. Now, a slight curveball I have to add to this is I do own the Kingdomino expansion Age of Giants. So I have never played this, but I read the instructions and it seems like it adds 2 different things to it. One, these giants, which adds a take that element to the game, because you don't want giants on your board. And in the game, you can get giants by what tiles you draft, but you also can give away giants based on what tiles you draft. So that would make the tile drafting a lot more, but I can also see that being potentially bad, because this is a peaceful game and now you're adding this take that element to it. But I have to try it to see kind of how it plays in reality. Maybe it's better at like 2 players, because then it's just more trying to go back and forth. But when you have 4 players, or in this case, this allows 5 players, apparently expansion also gets you a 5th player, is now like any other take that, it gets a little bit personal sometimes, where you know, you can easily gang up on one person and that person's not going to win because maybe they're the safe target. You know, if it's my wife and my mother-in-law and this other person, I'm like, sorry, buddy, you're probably getting to take that. I want to keep these people happy. With that said, though, it also comes with challenge tiles, and I think that's a little bit more interesting. So I think there's like 10 different challenge tiles. Sorry, correction, 17. Now those 17 tiles, I think you draw 2 of them and you play with 2 of them. Some of them are pretty basic, just like you play with like, oh, can you keep your castle in the middle of your kingdom, right? Another one might be like, oh, can you get your castle on the extreme corner? Or it could be like, you know, how do you line up the crowns? You know, can you get your crowns lined up in like a diagonal 3x3 or a vertical or horizontal? So it comes with 17 different little mini challenges. I think you play with 2 at a time. So that part seems kind of interesting because now you're not really adding any meanness to it with the giants. You just don't play with those, but you do get the, you know, the simplicity of this, but now with some goal. So maybe this just like adds a little extra something kind of within the same world that I would maybe get with this, but I don't need both. So this is right back to the same dilemma. So we'll see how this plays out in the long run. I'll come back to you, fill you guys in. But for now, I think you already know where this is going. Clearly, I think Kingdomino would win out in this case. I think it's just, it fits kind of where I'm at in this journey. It's simple, it's clean, it's a good gateway, but it's a gateway to another game, not to the same game with a little bit more. So what do you all think at home? You know, have you played both of these games? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I mean, I guess in a perfect world, I could just keep both if, you know, space wasn't an option. But I'm trying to get my collection down smaller, not bigger. So I'm having to make these tough cuts. But I'm curious your guys' thoughts. And I also want to know, have you guys played Queensdomino? That's one game I have not really looked into at all. I don't know the differences between, you know, these games and that one. So let me know down in the comments if that's something I should probably try. Maybe that's the perfect combo that I'm missing. Maybe that's the one. I have no clue. I've heard it's harder, so that's probably not the case. But then again, I haven't actually looked into it, so I'm not sure. And of course, if you're enjoying this content, please hit subscribe. It does help me a lot. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit like and leave a comment. I love to hear from you guys. You know, bad or good, it's always good. And until I see you guys again, have fun gaming. Take care. What's going on, y'all? All probably 3 of us that made it this far in the video. The real heroes. You guys are, you know, the real ones out there. So, secret word. You know, I have not thought of it, actually. I don't have any inkling of a secret word. Last time, I don't know. I'm filming this before that video actually posted, so I don't know how people showed up for rainbow rabbits. So, but I'll still, let's, oh, I got it. You have to meet my little, meet Bob. This is Bob. He's my stand-in, because if you guys ever filmed alone, it's hard to get focus and make sure lighting looks right. So I use Bob. Now, he's in my room at all the time, so people come visit my little office here. They usually get freaked out, and they're questioning why I have this. So no one ever sees Bob, typically. I have left him in the background one time, and I had to spend a lot of time editing him out. I was almost just tempted to leave him in there, but I might scare you guys off. So Bob is, we'll just say that's the secret word. The secret word today is, hello, Bob. All right. I'll see you guys later. Peace.